It's a beautiful winter's morning. We've got a wonderful silhouette with that orange glow on the horizon. We're just listening to some morning calls of lions and fiery neck nightjars, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
You are live.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this morning is Senzo. Now, Taylor is also out with Craig on the other vehicle, and of course we have the ladies in the final control. Now, just listen, we are busy hearing some beautiful calls at the moment. I want to keep quiet for a second. Hear those beautiful fiery-necked nightjars. Wonderful, wonderful nocturnal call. So nice to hear them, and there's a lot in this area at the moment. We did just hear some lions calling. It sounds like they're pretty far north, though. I think they're north of our boundary, but we may get lucky and maybe they pop onto our side this morning. Now, don't forget, we are live, so send us your questions and your comments, and you can do that via Twitter. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it, and we'll get through hopefully most of them, and we love hearing from all of you, so please don't forget.
Rescue my mic pack, the wheels are falling off the wagon right at the beginning of the show. Fantastic. Did I say my name was Taylor yet? No, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Craig, and we're ready for a wonderful safari, and I hope you all are too. Now, remember, this is live, this is interactive. Hashtag Safari Live with all of your questions, and we're hopefully going to find you some wonderful animals. The last two sunset safaris that we've had have been outrageous, I think is the best way to describe it. You know, it's been absolutely ridiculous with the amount of animals that we have seen and the sightings that we've had. So I hope you all have counted yourself very, very lucky if you got to witness them live with us. And now we're on the new road, and we're trying to see if we can find those wild dogs that we had last night, because they went to sleep around here, somewhere around here. I'm just trying to retrace my steps at the moment. But it's a little bit quiet. It's a bit dark as well, so if we do find those dogs, we won't be able to view them with a spotlight, unfortunately. We might have to just sit in darkness and wait for them to will get on the move if they haven't woken up yet, or we'll just have to keep our distance from them. Remember, we can't spotlight them. Another 20 minutes or so and it should be light enough. It's actually very pretty, the skyline, but we'll find a nice spot in a moment. We're just trying to navigate this new road, and it's actually very bumpy. It's a little bit unpleasant, in fact, because you can only go about 2 kilometers an hour down this way. Okay, Craig, you were hoping to see some nocturnal animals today, hey? Craig, I think Craig wants to see a honey badger. I think that's actually what Batman needs to see in his life. I wouldn't mind seeing a honey badger too. That would be wonderful, in fact. Yeah, I can't remember where I was though. It was so dark by the time I got in here. I think it may have been up that way, and I didn't see any wild dogs. I can't remember passing the big termite mound. Maybe it is further down. Chantal, can you still hear us? I'm just checking, because we've been having lots and lots of comms issues, so I'm going to keep doing tests the entire drive if it goes too quiet, because then I unnecessarily present extra and they've crash cut away from me because I have no communication, and then I carry on for the next half an hour talking absolute nonsense and not even a soul is listening to me. So we won't be doing any of that though. Right, so we're going to keep searching around here. I'm concentrating quite a large amount, more than normal as you can see, to try and find where these wild dogs went. Maybe we get some hyenas. I'm going to send you back across to Byron, who is hopefully following up on those lion roars.
Well, I hope so, Taylor. We checked the last position that we had the wild dogs yesterday. We also had a pack of wild dogs yesterday. Can't believe that both Taylor and I managed to find some, which was really exciting. And both packs managed to make a kill last night, or early evening, the late afternoon rather. And so I checked the last spot that we had them, but it looks as though they moved off already. Now again, it's very difficult to see tracks this early in the morning while driving around. I might just stop and listen again for those lion roars. Maybe we hear them calling again for us. But as I said, from what it sounded like, it was quite far north of this boundary. So this is the northern boundary of Djuma to our right and Buffelshoek to our left. And let's sit here for a second to see if they call again. It's always nice to hear the lions calling early in the morning. And I thought I heard an alarm call, perhaps a bushbuck or an inyala, but it didn't continue. I heard it a few minutes ago. Now, it sounds like we might have the Mara joining us, but from the hot air balloon, which is exciting. Senzo, you've been on the hot air balloon a few times. How was that? Good. Beautiful. Senzo says it was beautiful. Senzo, what would you like to see this morning? Leopard. Senzo wants to see a leopard. So our hot air ballooning prince of the Mara, Senzo, wants to see a leopard this morning. We'll try our best, Senzo. We'll try our best. Alright, now speaking of that balloon, let's go across to it now with some beautiful views.
And they are able to fly at anything up to 60 knots, and they will land the balloon at anything under 17 knots. Now have a look at... Now welcome to all the Safari Live guests. They've just joined this Facebook Live, and we are looking at eland, the largest antelope in Africa. Today we've had a bunch of firsts. We had the largest bird a little bit earlier. We've got lots of elephant, the largest land mammal, and you've just seen an eland, the largest antelope in Africa. We are on a hot air balloon ride over the Masai Mara, over the Mara Triangle portion of the Masai Mara Game Reserve, which is the westernmost part. Quickly just got a bit of a freeze frame there. It does happen as things like mountains get between the balloon and us, and I'm sure it'll sort itself out in a little bit, hopefully.
Hello everybody, sorry about that. At least you got a quick view of what the Mara looks like from the sky. How beautiful was that? But the gremlins, also in Kenya. Now we're still driving, we're still searching. I don't know where we're going to search next. Craig, what do you think? Do you think? I'm going to give Craig the options. He's going to be the deciding person. Let's also turn the car off in case we hear a leopard soaring or a lion roaring. Craig, would you like to go back up Philemon's Cut Line and go down Savage's Track towards Treehouse Dam, or would you like to go along Gowrie Main, Twin Dams, and then come back towards Treehouse Dam? Pressure's on now. Batman's going to decide.
Check the boundary, see what's been happening.
Boundary patrol it is, Craig. You have spoken, so I shall listen. You won't hear me saying that very often. Right, let's carry on. Let's see, that's a good idea, Craig. There's lots of animals that were sleeping in the road, lots of wildebeest tracks, lots of zebra tracks. We might see them popping up, but again, it's a little bit too dark to view them with the spotlight, so we'll just have to be patient and hope that some nocturnal critter that we can't shine this, we will use a spotlight on, pops out. We don't have the infrared light on, and it's an absolute nightmare to try and put on. There's no such thing as a quick infrared attachment, and then it will get too light too quickly that it won't even work very well too. So we'll have to wait for the sun. Okay, so nothing happening just just yet in terms of tracks. I actually haven't seen, oh no, I've changed my mind. I've got male lion tracks, but I think those are the male lions that roared outside last night and jumped out of bed. There must have at least been 2 Birmingham boys, and they were around here, so they came through this way. Okay, well that's good. But I don't think that they're on the property anymore. If Byron can get them, I'll be very impressed, because I heard them roar about 2:30 and then like really loudly right outside my window, and then off they went, and I just heard the roars getting softer and softer and even softer. So I don't know which way they were going, probably north. If the Agama Pride have crossed, that would be nice. We'll go check the western corner a little bit later. I'm just going to follow up down here, quickly check these watering holes, which are popular places. Also because the wild dogs have had, or the ones we had, the Lower Sabi breakaway pack, they had big meals, and I don't think they would have drank any water just yet. So the closest water, well, for a wild dog there's no such thing as anything being far away with the speed that they move, but I reckon that they would have gone to Treehouse Dam, or at least Twin Dams, to go and have a drink. And this is the time that they'll start to get active. They'll just start waking up at first light. We'll go and check. No tracks crossing out either, so that's also a good sign. Well, hopefully we find some wonderful things. It would be nice. We've been spoilt now, although we seem to have very quiet mornings and then busy evenings. Elizabeth, you've said some wonderful words. I'm not going to repeat all of them because it was too long, and I'm not going to get them exactly, but basically you've said how beautiful the skyline is. It is wonderful, and I shall show you once we move away from the power lines, because that is not very pretty. And I reckon by the time we get to Twin Dams, we can have a look on the dam wall. That'll be a nice spot. It'll be even more beautiful too. We might even be able to see the sun poking its nose just above the horizon of trees. Well, that's the idea anyway, isn't it? It's nice to watch the sunrise. I wish we could do it every single day, but that doesn't, of course, always happen. What's that? What's that? Just seen something. What did I just see? Is it a antelope? Is it a Logosaurus? I thought the Logosaurus moved though. Nah. My eyes are playing tricks on me. Oh well. At least I'm pretending to spot things. Well, we're going to keep searching, and hopefully we'll find a nice view to show you the sunrise this morning.
Oh dear, it sounds like Taylor's got a few gremlins there with her this morning too, as well as the Mara, but I'm sure we will sort it out very soon. Now, I'm still checking this northern boundary, and so far no sign of any predators. I know Taylor said she had tracks of a lion. I wonder which direction they were going, if they were heading north. It would make sense to me, because that's where we heard those lions calling, so I think that's where they are. Michael, yeah, I'm sure either Taylor or myself will pop into the hyena den a little later and see if there's any activity there. We had yesterday with those wild dogs, when they made their kill. Hold on. Come on, little guy. There was a pearl-spotted owl busy calling. Let's see if we can find it quickly. So yesterday with those wild dog kill, we had about, what was it? 3 hyena eventually arrived. There was 1 initially. And those of you who watched would have seen the wild dogs tolerated it for some reason. But then when more hyenas started arriving, it definitely unsettled the pack, and there was quite a lot of interaction. Let me just see. There's a beautiful owl calling here. Let's see if I can find it. No, Anna Marie, you are asking about the different wild dog packs, and if the lowest Sabi pack would ever join the Investec pack. Now, Anna Marie, chances of that happening are very unlikely, and I say that because generally with wild dog packs, the family has been established already, and is that a 3 days? No. I'm just having a look for this owl. So, Anna Marie, the chances of that happening are highly unlikely. That 2 different packs will join. Just listening. There are a lot of sounds around us at the moment. I can hear some branches breaking. Can't seem to find this owl. Let's listen again. I can hear some branches breaking around here. Now I wonder if there is not perhaps an elephant. And there is. There we go. See, stopping and listening like this always helps. Hold on, let me turn down here quickly. That's a good little start for us. And here is the elephant just off to our left. It's going to be coming through there. Senzo, sorry about the angle, is that okay? There we go, look at that. Looks like a young male. I don't think he's by himself. It sounded like there was 1 or 2 others around. But you see what I mean about stopping and listening to the bush. Often you'll pick up on something that you may not have spotted. So nice to see these young bulls moving around. I'm going to spend a little bit of time with them. Maybe we have some luck and find an owl or 2 around here too. They're calling all over. But let's head across to Jamie, who is in the Mara at the moment.
A very good morning to all of you, and welcome to sunrise here in the Masai Mara, where of course we are about an hour ahead. We are exactly an hour ahead, so the sun has had an hour's head start on South Africa. My name is Jamie. This morning VM is on camera with me, and this is the first internet show that I have done in a very long time. It feels like forever. It's probably only been a couple of weeks, but it feels like forever, and I don't think the TV shows really count. So we are sitting at the base of the Olololo escarpment, and the herds have well and truly arrived. This is nothing. Earlier on, because VM and I went out at about 4 this morning, earlier on we drove through, how many wildebeest would you say, VM? A couple of thousand? 22,000, exactly. What about the 5 that were in the back? 22,005. Oh, you counted them. Okay, well, VM's on it. VM, of course, having the advantage of the thermal. And we experienced an interesting morning attempting to try and find out what was panicking the wildebeest herd. It's interesting trying to find out in the dark when you've got thermal and a spotlight and there's wildebeest running everywhere to try and see if you can spot a lion. It's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, just different. Now, the Angamas are thrilled. The herds have arrived on their doorstep as well. So our lions are fat, flat and happy somewhere in the river system where we can't get to them, unfortunately. But that's okay. And I've got an eclectic collection of clothing on because my jacket's in the wash. I'm trialing my new hat. And somebody back at camp used my scarf, my good game drive scarf, my favorite scarf. They used it as a diesel rag yesterday. Slightly devastated, slightly injured feelings. I'm not quite sure who managed to confuse my scarf. It wasn't that tatty. Anyway, don't forget to send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. I'm going to take you to see the rest of the wildebeest. Let us, off we go. Let's go to the lions that Brent saw from the balloon. He's told me where they are. And we'll go look at some more wildebeest. There's lots of them around, funnily enough. Stay on. Okay, I'm going to go off in search of more signs of the migration, not that they're hard to find here. And while we do that, Byron has got an animal that definitely doesn't enjoy the arrival of the wildebeest.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that, Jamie. I didn't know that the elephant don't enjoy the arrival of the wildebeest. That's I'm curious about that now. Now, our elephant has decided to disappear into this bush. You might just see a little bit of movement there, but it's hiding. I'm going to try and move around, and it's busy feeding there at the moment. That's why it's decided to go into that bush. I was hoping we'd hear another one of those owls calling, but nothing just yet. Or rather, we can hear them, but they're a little bit far away. There's another elephant I can just see flapping its ears through the bush over there. There we go, you see that? And there's a few there, huh? Let's go move a bit closer, maybe we can get a better view of them. That's nice, what a nice surprise. My favourites, elephant. Oh, it's quite chilly down here in the dip. All the cold air sinks. So as you go through these little depressions, you get that very cold temperature. Alright, I'll see if I can get a view of these elephant. Hold on, here they are. Here they are, they're right here. Let's just have a look. They look like some youngsters. Good morning. Hello. There's a young one right here. And there's one or two large females to the back there. And also another baby. I just saw moving through the grass, but how cute is this little one? Alright, let's I'll hang around with this elephant a little bit longer. Let's go across to Taylor and find out how our morning's going.
Very quiet, Byron. I'm quite jealous that you've managed to find an entire herd of elephants. I hope they do stay around your car and close by and give you the most amazing experience. We're just driving at the moment. I've not even seen my first bird yet, so I'm looking for one, even if it's going to be a turtle dove. That is what we will start the day with, but not yet. And also waiting for the sun to rise. I can see it's getting lighter and lighter, but we must just be too low down to see it. Right, crossing Weaver's Nest. We're on our way towards Treehouse Dam, and I can see hippo tracks on the floor. So that must mean we're going to see a hippo at Treehouse Dam. Hopefully. And we'll check on the blacksmith lapwing chicks. But anyways, let's go across to Byron and his African grey giants.
I'm still just sitting with this one youngster. The others are just through the back, behind the thicket. You might get a brief view of them, but they are slowly moving in this direction, so we might actually have a nice view of them. You can see that large female just to the left of the screen, the back of the trees, behind the trees rather. And there's also some movement through there. We've been fortunate. This is the second morning in a row now that we found some elephant quite early on. But there's definitely a number of elephant around here. Yesterday we had 2 or 3 bulls, young bulls walking around. Bless you, Senza. And then and now we've got a herd with females and youngsters. This one's having a good little scratch on a branch there. You see how it's rocking backwards and forwards? Got a little branch between its legs and scratching itself. I really do enjoy this part of the day, these early mornings. Yesterday was very beautiful because there was a lot of mist around, but now this time of the morning is perfect. Out early, fresh air, and just listening to the sounds of the bush. See if we can see 1 or 2 of those younger ones further along. Give me a second. This youngster is completely relaxed with us, not fazed by us at all. There's a little one hiding through the trees over there. Sure. That Franklin is making a loud noise. Listen to this Franklin. It's a crested Franklin that's calling. Very, very loud. I wonder if it's calling because of the elephant close by. You can see that young elephant, the baby elephant, hiding through there. I can't really see it too clearly, but it looks like it's probably a year, maybe 2 years old. Oh, I'd say probably closer to 2 years old. I haven't heard those lions call again. And we've been sitting quietly for quite some time. So if they did decide to call, we would have heard them by now. You can see that's that youngster that was close to us, and then the rest of the herd just to the back. There goes that little one again, just moving off. That big female just behind it. Look at that. And you can see this time of the year, the trees, a lot of the trees are very grey and dull in colour, not many leaves, but just look how well the elephants blend in now because of that their colour. So it's actually quite difficult to spot them. In the grey winter bush. I can hear a poor spotted owl calling beyond the elephant on the other side, behind them. A little too far for us to see it. Michelle, the largest herd of elephant I've seen on Djuma, I think, would probably be close to about 30 or 40 elephant. However, in the Sabi sands, I once saw a herd of about, I think it must have been close to 80 or 100 elephant. That's the largest herd I've ever seen in the Sabi sands in this section of South Africa. In Botswana, I've seen really big herds. I've seen over 100 elephant together in Botswana. Hold on a second. These ellies are moving a bit closer towards the road and out into the open, perhaps. Okay, there's a number of elephants spread out around here. Chastity, you asked if the elephants get sunburnt. Now, no, they don't. Their grey skins, their thick hides, the sun wouldn't affect them, and they wouldn't get sunburnt. The only animal out here that they say has the potential chance of being sunburnt is actually the hippopotamus. Now, the hippo have got very sensitive skin, soft pink skin, and they can potentially get sunburnt if they are exposed to the harsh sun for too long. There's that little one feeding. And the big female's going to walk in front. Look at that. Machine gun nest, you say these herbivores sure eat a lot. They do. And they do indeed. And the reason for that is the elephants do not have an efficient digestive system, and they need to constantly feed to keep those big bodies moving. But they'll still find, even now in the dry winter months, they will still find food. And mainly now they'll be feeding on a lot of bark of trees or branches. And the reason for that is there is a lot of nutrients in the bark of the trees, so that's why the elephant will feed on it. So they do get a lot of nutrients from that, even though it's not a lot of food, but it's very rich in nutrients, so it's good for them to feed on. A Vombo girl, excuse me. That's a difficult question. I'm sorry. You asked how large is the average range of elephants. Now it varies. It varies completely, depending on the time of year, depends on the availability of food, of water. I would say herds of elephant can cover about 5 to 10 square miles on a regular basis. So somewhere around there. Maybe even more. You know, if they are looking for food and water, they'll cover huge distances. But these areas, it's hard to say. It's actually hard to say. I might sit here a little bit longer with this wonderful elephant. Let's head back to Taylor and find out if she's had any luck this morning with any predators yet.
Are we live? I don't know. I can't hear what Chantal was saying. Oh, hi there. Yeah, sorry, we're still having comms problems. So I cannot actually hear what anybody is saying to me. It just sounds like that's basically what's happening on the other side. And then those who are speaking to me on the radio sound like robots. So when Byron just said good morning, I had a good chuckle on the radio. Oh my goodness. No. Corrugations, no. This road is so bad. It's one whole corrugation now, so you just bounce around. Let's go here. We're still searching for our first animal. We've seen one or two impala, but even they were off into the distance. And there is a safari car coming up, so I'm going to ask them if they found anything. Oh, sorry, Craig, it's very bumpy. Now, Kobe, you're wondering if I can get your bird list to 25. It's on 17. Well, we'll try our level best to do so. Actually, these are not guides. Let me quickly chat to these fellas. I think they've gone to pick some stuff up at the gate. And the sand took my tires. Almost lost Craig to the curb there. Hello. How are you? Are you well? We're going Lutu and Gala. Elephants. I see them. Okay. No, just some elephants. Okay, thanks. Never mind. I was trying to ask them if they'd maybe seen some lions, but I don't think so. I then spotted elephants crossing the road, but they're very far away, even further than what Mvula was the other afternoon, and they are crossing out of our traverse. Maybe we get the tail end of the herd, hopefully, but with another 5 minutes of driving or so, maybe even a bit longer until we eventually get there. Right, we're going to keep searching. We'll try and catch up with these elephants. Hopefully they're still on our side. I'm going to send you across to Kenya, to Jamie, who has got her thermal camera out.
I don't think it's ever going to get old sitting and watching wildebeest in these numbers. So we're watching at the moment by the grace of the flare. Or as we've been mispronouncing it, to the fleur, but it's the flare, and that of course is providing the thermal imaging. And what you're looking at at the moment is a good couple of hundred wildebeest, not quite fully thousands yet, but there are certainly a lot of them. Now imagine that, picture that, and then imagine that in the pitch black and trying to figure out where a lion is in the middle of a herd like that while it's running, and then you get a rough idea of some of the complications that we face. Oh, I've made complications for somebody else, which means that we've got to switch back onto our normal camera so that I can move away. Here we go. Sorry, mister. I didn't mean to park in the middle of the road. Yes, I did. Once this car's past us, I want to just sit so that you can hear the sound effects of the wildebeest while they're all gathered together. Morning. Sorry to have blocked you for 2 seconds. Let me just shift around back into the middle of the road, because is there a car coming? No. Then you can listen to the sound of the wildebeest. And this goes on 24 hours a day. I think I've spotted where the lions are, judging by a whole number of vehicles. Just listen to this. Now Stanley times 3, you're wondering if we could get some x-ray cameras too. I'd be all in favour of that. I think the anatomy of watching the animals move would be amazing. Can you just imagine? What do you think, VM? X-ray cameras?
I know what the leopards ate.
You know what the leopards ate, yeah. Especially if they swallow something whole. I have to find a leopard first though. I want to go show you the elephants in thermal as well. Perhaps some of you haven't had the opportunity to see what they look like, and it's a great way of demonstrating what their ears look like. Forest wanderers, this is nothing. Okay, this is a lot of wildebeest, but it's nothing compared to what we drove through a little bit earlier. Do you mind if I come past? Do you go first? Off you go. Little one. There you go. Okay, you hold on a second. Thank you. The funniest thing to listen to is the changing sound effects of the wildebeest when they go from contact calling, which is their gnuing, to when a male starts to chase a female. It's hilarious. It goes from meh to meh. That goes on for ages. It's very entertaining. There you go, just coming up to the Ellies. I tell you what, let's have a competition. See who can come up with the best GNU-based pun. something along the lines of good news, the wildebeest are here, or something similar. See if you can beat me. That's a pathetic one. That's definitely been used before. But hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you can think of a good GNU-based pun. I think that's what we need for our morning. So there we go. If we have a look at the eddies, if we have a look at them in thermal, just look at this. It is incredible. Have a look at the way that the ears act as a cooling system. I haven't made your life very easy at all, have I, VM? I'm so sorry. Let me reposition so that we don't have the white lights in shot, and then we can have a look at those ears. And while we do, James, you were wondering about how you age an elephant. The answer I'm going to give you is not an exact science, but there are ways of aging an elephant. First of all, when they're little, they grow at a relatively standard rate. So you can sort of, by about 3 years old, the tusks will start to poke through, and you get a good idea of just how old they are. After that, each elephant grows at an individual rate. You can't gauge by the length of their tusks. The best way would be to examine their teeth, actually, and then you can start to see an older elephant by the indentations on their forehead. Their skin basically loses a bit of elasticity, and their bones become more prominent around their temples. There you go, look at this. Isn't it amazing? Look at the ears. You can really see how they function in terms of distributing the heat. So the rest of the elephant's body is obviously very hot. And forgive me, I'm not being patronizing, but that's the bit that's red and yellow. That's the hot part. And then the ears, where all of those blood vessels are so close to the surface, that is where all of an elephant's cooling happens, or a great deal of an elephant's cooling. It's been one of my favorite things to watch. And occasionally on the really dark nights when we're out all night, that's actually, the thermal image is the only way of seeing the elephants. And I've sat surrounded by them, feeding right next to the vehicle, just watching this thermal image. An animal that is adapted to deal with huge amounts of heat. So there we go, talking about aging of elephants. Between the ear and the forehead, essentially, is the temporal region, just above where that gland sits behind the eye. And you can start to see in older elephants that gets very, very sunken. So that's the spot that I was chatting about. And of course, elephants' teeth wear down throughout their lives. It seems as though it is an elephant-filled morning. I'm going to go and search for more wildebeest and some lions to fill it with. But Taylor has got more ellies on the sunrise. On the sunrise? That's not a word.
We do. There's a slight orange glow behind the elephants this morning. I'm sad we missed watching the sunrise, but you just couldn't find a high enough spot. But I'm smiling from ear to ear now as I get to spend a little bit of time with my favorite animals in the whole wide world. Now, it's quite a large herd of elephants, but I don't know for how much longer we're going to have them. They seem to have been moving quite a bit last night, and they're just feeding on the edge of Triple M now, and they're heading into Arathusa. But luckily, some of the ladies and their little ones have decided to hang about and feed on the delicious shrubs over here. I think she's eating a buffalo thorn at the moment. They love eating the buffalo thorns, and so do people in South Africa. You can actually cook the leaves up to almost a spinach. They're not particularly tasty when you pluck them off the tree and eat them. I've done this many a times, and I don't like the leaves at all. Some guides manage to keep a straight face. I don't care for them, however. But maybe steaming them and adding something else with them would be quite nice. There's lots of ellies. It's nice to have them back again, and I hope they stick around for the next couple of days. They are really amazing animals to watch. And I look forward to waking up and finding the herds on the open plains of Quarantine. That's my best spot to view them. Imagine, silhouetted elephants for a sunrise or a sunset safari. That needs to be our goal for the next couple of drives before I go on holiday. Well, it's going to be my goal then. But a rather large cow. Oh, yeah, you are a cow. I had to second-guess myself there for a moment. She did have a calf standing next to her. Yes, you're a big girl. Just watching us. It's okay. Hello, girl. I'm just going to give this girl some room, so I'm going to roll back because I think she wants to walk across here. Ooh. Wild dogs. Let's just see where Byron is. Can you, Chantal, please ask Byron if he's following up on those wild dogs? Because I'm not far. I'm near Impala Plains. It's just the Game Drive radio is going quite hectically now. Sounds like some wild dogs have been found. I don't know which pack. Rexon is just talking about it now. We're not far. So I'm trying to decide if we're going to go or if Byron is going to race over that side, depending where he is. Okay, let's go. Let's quickly get hold of... Right. I'm going to try and jump on the radio and see if we can catch these dogs. I'm going to send you back to Byron, who's also got some more grey giants.
I hope Taylor has some luck with the wild dogs this morning. They saw tracks of them, but I don't know. I've got a feeling that those tracks are possibly from last night, maybe early this morning. I'm not sure if they're going to pop up again today. We'll see. But we're surrounded by elephant at the moment. A lot of these elephant enjoying this burnt area, and we spoke about this burnt area the other day, and if or when animals will come and feed you. And at the moment, all these elephants are really enjoying the trees and the branches. Oh, look at this little shaking his head. They're really enjoying these areas. They do get a lot of nutrients from the trees and all the branches and that are around here at the moment. So that's what they're busy feeding on. There's a whole herd. Lucia, you asked if elephants eat honey. No, I don't think so, Lucia. I've never seen elephants eating honey. I highly doubt it. Have a look at it. It's amazing. There's a lot of elephant here. All of a sudden, the bush has erupted with elephant, and they're moving all around us, crossing the road up ahead. Just have a look. Have a look at this. A wonderful view. All these elephant around here. They're all communicating with each other at the moment. They're giving those vocalizations. Might be able to hear it. Now, this always reminds me of that movie Jurassic Park, and I'll tell you why. Do you remember that scene in the original Jurassic Park where I think it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex? It leans down and looks into the car and gives that almost growl sound. I'm certain they used the noise an elephant makes for that sound, because it sounds so similar. It's like like a gurgling grumble growl. That's the best way I can describe it. These youngsters are always so playful, always wonderful to watch them. So that youngster's suckling there at the moment, while the female is chewing on a branch. I could sit with elephants like this for ages. What a great start to the morning. I think, it just kind of sets the tone for the day. It's so calm and peaceful. Living amongst giants. Yeah, I think, Chantal, that's a good idea. Why don't you give us a one-word tweet on what you think, or describe the sighting to us, what it means to you, or how it makes you feel. Actually, a lovely silhouette with that elephant. Hashtag Safari Live. Send us your one word for sitting with these magnificent creatures. And as they're moving through this burnt area, obviously they're kicking up a bit of dust, and you get that wonderful, it's actually a nice smell. This smell of burnt, almost, I don't know if any of you back home can relate to this. Listen to that. That's that sound that I'm talking about, that I think sounds like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. As I was saying, this burnt smell. So the burnt vegetation, the grass, the trees, the branches, and the dust in the air, you get that wonderful burnt smell of vegetation, of wood. If you think of when you put a fire out with a bit of water, you get that smell too. Charcoal, kind of, but not quite charcoal. Charcoal is, I suppose, a stronger scent. And I often say, sightings like this, you don't really have to say much, and especially if I had guests on the vehicle with me, I'd probably just sit here quietly. We've had the whole herd walk past us. We've had a big female come very close to us. It's just so wonderful to view. Sharon, you say it's soothing. Some of the one-word tweets coming through. Soothing, yes, Sharon, definitely. Forest wanderers, you say peaceful. Definitely is peaceful. Definitely is peaceful. And what I love about this is, yesterday afternoon we had an exciting afternoon with wild dogs on the hunt, making an impala kill, feeding, the frenzy of the feed, the hyenas coming in. It's exciting, it's intense, and then the bush has the ability to have these peaceful moments, these soothing moments, the words that you used, compared to that intense high energy. We experience all those feelings out here, which I find really wonderful, and that's why I think nature in general is just amazing. And I do think that a lot of people lose that connection with nature, which is sad. And often when I get people out on safari, it's nice to see the animals and appreciate the wildlife, but to try and reconnect people with nature, I think is very important. It's my tip of the day. Byron's tip of the day. Take time to reconnect with nature. I think we're going to move on from this elephant now, so we go see what else we can find. We'll drive around a little bit. And these elephant are heading south onto Vuyatela, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see them a little bit later. Heading down towards, who knows, they might actually pop out at the Gallagher, sorry, not Gallagher, at Vuatella Dam. It's in that direction, so they may decide to head down there. Let's see if these Ellies let us past. Alright, let's head back to Taylor and find out how that wild dog search is going. I hope she has some luck.
No, classic miscommunication, broken telephone in the bush. I think Rexon got a bit excited because he said in Shangan that the wild dogs were going south towards Impala Plains. We were right there. It was not the actual animal, it was their footprints, but he failed to mention the part footprints. So everybody got so excited and started, saying, we're here, can we come in? And yes, he then corrected himself. So sadly, no wild dogs. I just saw their tracks. They cross into Simbambili. Very sadly. Looked like the big pack of dogs actually crossed there. I don't know if we're going to get a view here. This herd of elephants, we've come back to our old faithfuls here on Triple M. It's a massive herd of elephants. They stretch probably about another 100 meters behind me, and they're all just feeding. But I'm trying to figure out where they're going to go. There might be a road we can jump onto and actually try and intercept them. But for now, we're just looking for a gap. There are lots and lots and lots of them. I think we might actually have to go back onto Impala Plains. It's so bumpy. There we go. Now we're over the bumps. Just so that you could hear how bumpy it is. Craig is now holding onto the camera with both hands as well as his feet, trying to keep it stabilized. We'll hopefully get some more Ellies. But it wouldn't put it past me if those dogs turn back and come this way again. So we might actually just hang around in the area. You've seen how they move. They zigzag. They go south. They turn around. They come straight back north again. Especially when they're looking for food. So let's not write the wild dogs off just yet. Perhaps we could have a third game drive with them. Where's this road now? I think it's coming up. Goodness, it feels like it was much closer the other day. Perhaps I'm just a little bit behind. We'll quickly get, here we go. Here's the road. I think we might see the elephants again. Let me go on it. I hope we're not just going to bump into Byron. Maybe it's the same herd of elephants. Actually, I don't have no idea where Byron is. In fact, though, he said he was quite... I didn't know. He didn't say he was far away. He just said he wasn't going to follow up on the wild dogs. And can you believe it? Yesterday I didn't see one crested francolin. How bad is that? Never in my life. Okay, we've got different elephants then. Byron's on buffels or cutline. Thank you, Chantal. What are those? Wildebeest? They look so small. Maybe they're not. Please actually be an animal. Please don't say it's another termite mound or rocks. No, okay. Whew. Thank goodness they turned. That would have been very upsetting. We'll go back towards the elephants now. But look where our wildebeest are. They're on Impala Plains. They've changed it up slightly, perhaps. Those male lions that were causing all sorts of havoc last night and roaring about marched across the wide open plains of quarantine and chased these guys quite far back. There they are. You can also hear the crested francolins that are hiding away from me. They're having a territorial dispute by the sounds of it. About 3 different family groups that are shouting at the moment. There they are. They don't seem to be too panicked now, do they? Heads on the ground, munching away on the lovely grass. Where are your zebra friends? We haven't actually been seeing too much zebra wildebeest symbiotic relationships. Normally they're always together and always out in the open. Just the wildebeest and the impala that have been hanging about together. There's one just keeping an eye out, looking in the distance. I suspect that they can hear the breaking branches of the elephants, but let's go back towards the elephants. I think we will get them. No, go in my pocket, please. Yes. Okay, let's reverse quickly back to the junction. We're going to go towards all the guarri trees now, one of my favorite spots. Jamie does it again. She beats us to finding cats here in the sand, so let's go across to her, and she has got a carpet of lions.
Look at what we have found. Admittedly not very difficult, but we have finally come upon our lions, and it seems as though we have come upon a romancing pair of lions. Although they're taking a break from the romancing for a little while. They've probably been romancing for a couple of days now. But there we go, a male lion and a lioness. We're not far at all from another herd of wildebeest, another group of zebra. But the one thing we know about romancing lions is that, look, they will hunt. They absolutely will hunt if the opportunity presents itself. But it's not really on their priority list. And what you usually find... Oh, hey girl. Brief lift of the head. What you usually find is that the lioness will try and hunt, and the male somehow manages to disrupt it in some manner. There's actually a whole herd of zebra walking straight towards us, now that I look at it. Are you coming this way? Zebies? There we go. There's a couple of zebra wandering in this direction. There's about to be a vehicle wandering in this direction as well. That's going to block Liam's shot. Morning. They look as though they've had a busy evening. But when lions are mating, for our new viewers, it tends to occur roughly every 15 minutes. Sometimes they slow down a bit if it's too hot, or they will slow down towards the end, but on average it's around about 4 times an hour that they will mate. So a little bit of patience. Hey, we could watch lions mating in thermal. Never filmed lions mating in thermal, Liam? No? Hey, that might be something fun to do. Something different. Well, oh, she's up. There we go. There we go. Shall we get the first lion mating in thermal? That's quite nondescript, isn't it? There is a yellow blob. Right, well, that's the family-friendly version. And there's the colour version. She's missing the tip of her tail. I know this lioness. There's also a male lion that's missing the tip of his tail that's part of this dominant coalition. Oh. Dearie me. This is slightly more protracted than usual. She looks thoroughly unimpressed with him. Oh, there we go. We'll try a different position. I don't think she was terribly comfortable on that termite mound. Oh, goodness. You're such a flirt, girl. Cute. Now he's snarling at her. Which one is this? This Fang? Looks like it might be. We'll have to have a look and see if he's missing his canine. So there are 3 male lions that are dominant in this area, and a 4th that sort of comes and goes, and not much is known about him. Yeah, that's Fang. He's of course named Fang because he's missing one. There's something happening. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. Love is in the air. 'Tis the season to be merry. Plenty of lionesses to go around for the dominant coalition. Perhaps the constant meh, 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 meh of the wildebeest, perhaps they find that quite stirring. That is a magnificent male lion over there. I've seen him before from a distance, and Scott's seen him, but I haven't actually properly had a chance to see him. Yes, Louise has commented that perhaps the sound of the wildebeest is the lion equivalent of Barry White. That's exactly what I was thinking, Lou. The male lions in the Mara are utterly magnificent. They are enormous. Hi guys. Morning. The Notch boys are truly spectacular. Having spent, of all of the males out here, I've spent the most time with the Notch boys. Oh, good night. Oh! Snarly, snarly. For our new viewers, lion mating is always a little bit aggressive. That, of course, is because it is painful for the female. It's one of the ways that ovulation is induced. And for that whole process to work, she has to be uncomfortable during it. And as a result, she tends to turn around and snarl at him, and he tends to get a bit snarly in defense. And so you end up with two lions who don't look very happy in each other's company, but instinct drives them to stay in each other's company. Right, now we've got two very flat lions. And I think for now the romance has quietened down. See, wildebeest, the zebra have stopped coming in this direction. Generally, lions tend to give themselves away when they are in this vulnerable position. Stanley times 3, Stanley says that it is a mixed doubles event this morning. I couldn't have put it better than myself. And of course the spectators on the side. Perhaps we should go and look at the spectators, because the lions are now flat. Let's go and have a look. Often you find that the audience is even more entertaining than the main show. That applies across the board. Have you come up with any good GNU puns yet? I'm struggling. I might have set you a challenge that is a little bit too difficult. Alright, while we go off in search of more things, we'll come back to these lions in a little bit. Let's go across to Byron, who's got something with a very good view of an area. What links?
I have a nice view of an animal, in fact. Have a look at this. Beautiful big male giraffe. We've been discussing, yesterday we discussed not seeing giraffe. We hadn't seen giraffe for quite some time. But now we seem to be seeing a lot of them. Always lovely to see the big giraffe moving around. This is a big male, really blonde. He just looks very tall. Oh, that's going to be a lovely view of him coming out into the open. Oh. Oh wow, Senzo, at the top of that tree, that very tall tree, it just flew. There are two black-headed orioles. I haven't seen them for quite some time, but you hear them calling. Sorry, they just moved, they were sitting right at the top of the tree, and with the morning light, they looked really beautiful, but they've moved off now. They just flew down, you can hear them calling. Something like that. I think that's a pretty accurate black-headed oriole call. Looked like an interesting bird just flying here. I may or may not be seeing things. Let's just have a look. It looked like it may have been a nightjar. Sometimes these birds disappear so quickly, and they're well camouflaged. It's difficult to get the birds on camera sometimes. The giraffe is now feeding in the thicket just off to our left. Let's move through this thicker area. We'll have one more view of him quickly just through here. It's a bit difficult with the trees. Oh, no, I suppose it's still alright. Aubrey, you asked how tall does a giraffe get? Aubrey, they get a full-grown male like this is probably about 6 meters tall. That's how big they can get, 5.5 to 6 meters tall. Seriously tall animals. Claire, you asked if giraffe are solitary. No, Claire, they're not. Claire, the thing with giraffe is there isn't a strict social structure. So you will often get the females with youngsters in the same area. You'll get groups of males together at times. Sometimes you'll find a male by himself, like we've just found here. But I wouldn't say they're solitary animals. You generally do see them in groups, small groups, large groups. But there isn't a strict social structure with giraffe. You'll have males and females together. You'll have, like I said, just the females with youngsters. But it does all depend. So I don't think you can say that they are solitary because that isn't true. We'll carry on and see what else we can find. Now, Taylor seems to be having some luck with elephant, and she's got a herd she wants to show you.
We did about 37 loops round and round Triple M, Pilot Players Road, the Power Lines Road, trying to find the elephants, and finally, while we did all those loops, they managed to pop out. Still no word on the wild dogs just yet, but that's okay. Maybe they've said you have all had enough. We need to go and be seen somewhere else. So that was nice. I just dropped everything. How cool is that? I love backlit elephants. It's one of my favorite things in the golden grass, especially at this time of the year. It really is one of the most prettiest things you can see. There's lots of elephants around here, and that tiny little baby is being quite sweet as well. It's fairly young. It might just be just under a year old now. And can use its trunk quite well. It was doing something quite funny a moment ago. It was just kicking the ground. I don't know if it was trying to maybe uproot a bulb or a root, in fact, or something along those lines. But it was clearly struggling. And it was quite entertaining to watch. Maybe it's going to do it again. You can see lots of little midges and bugs flying around, though. It's going to be a hot day, I suspect. And here the go-away birds are also starting to chirp now. I wonder what they're moaning about. What's got their feathers ruffled. I can't imagine it would be the elephants. Who could possibly be cross at these gentle giants? If anything, it's nice to have them around. They're always on the herbivore's side. But she's searching that big cow. She's a lovely cow too. She's very relaxed. She's looking for the tastiest things to eat. Now, the reason why we're not seeing the elephants hanging around the fire breaks we've seen all that nice green grass popping through is because it's a bit too sort of short for an elephant to pull out of the ground. But if the wildebeest and the zebra don't eat it all, and the warthogs in particular, because they're there now, then in the next few days you might find the elephants hanging around those areas trying to pick up some of those nice green shoots. Oh, that little elephant is so sweet. Apparently Byron's elephants were feeding along the fire break. Now, obviously those trunks are incredibly nimble, and they're able to use them just like you and I use our hands. Run, run, run. Don't get too far away from Mum. We're a bit worried there to get left behind, making sure it stays at Mum's side. But like I was saying, the grass is too short that's coming up now for the ellies to feed on, so they're probably feeding on the bark of trees and whatever's left over of the leaves. Who doesn't love a crispy leaf fresh out of the fire? I'm trying to think. This herd, there must be at least 50 elephants here, because I've seen a whole lot crossing over already, and they just keep filtering out of the bushes. Lots of bulls. I reckon maybe it's not one herd of elephants. Perhaps it's a couple of family groups together. I even saw a bachelor herd at one point too. I got very excited because I saw an enormous elephant, and I thought, oh, Daryl. It wasn't Daryl, though. I think Daryl's still down at Earth Lodge in the Southern Sands. That's where he lives. I can't wait for him to make his return again. I miss him so much. My favorite elephant in the entire world. He doesn't seem to like everyone, though. But he's only ever given me the greatest sightings. But here come a couple more, so I'm just feeding right past us. There's a group of youngsters that are also going to come through from the back. Taking a food with it. It's so stunning. The colours at the moment are really, really pretty. Just crossing Triple M now, going into Arathusa, where I'm sure they'll head towards Red Dam. That's a direction that they seem to be going in. Perhaps I'll have a drink there a little bit later. Now, an interesting question from Colleen. You're wondering if elephants are the most unpredictable animals. Let's reposition. Let's go up a little bit further. No, not at all. I actually think, if anything, elephants are quite frank with you. And their body language, barring a couple of sort of subtle signs, pretty obvious to read once you're able to read animal behavior. Remember, you can only learn so much from a book. You actually have to sit with these animals and watch them and have them flap their ears at you. Have a mock charge so you know exactly what to expect. There's a whole group coming through now, and I reckon in the next 2 to 3 minutes they'll be quite close to the car. You can just see them through the silver cluster. You know what? Buffalo, to me, are some of the most unpredictable animals, and so are hippo. Not hippos in the water, because they feel quite comfortable in the water, and they can also show you quite a few agitation signs by splashing about, even just snorting, grunting. And you know, all these different signs that we see. We're very lucky. We've seen quite a bit of hippo behavior, sort of a agitation behavior, not necessarily with us, but also with the other hippos in the dam. And then when they come out on land, though, they don't tolerate anything. Remember, they feel very uncomfortable. So hippo and buffalo, I would say, Colleen, are the two most unpredictable animals. And if you ask any guides, they're the ones that we watch out for the most. The cats, I'm really not as concerned about as I am, say, with an elephant. But then again, an elephant is very responsive to human on foot. Just by shouting, clapping your hands, making yourself seem big and scary is enough to turn a 5.5-ton elephant bull. But you try to do that to a lone buffalo bull, and you're just going to agitate him even more, and they'll charge you. So you've just got to be careful. Breeding herds of buffalo are actually quite nice to view. Because you imagine if there's 200 of them and one of you, they don't really care. They sort of stare and look at you, and they form a wall. And as long as you don't go too close and try and cause a scene, you'll be all right. But you can sit up on a termite mound and actually watch a breeding herd move through. It's just once you catch a dugger boy on his own, when you've lived a life with a family, and then all of a sudden you're too old or you're injured, you can't keep up with the herds, that becomes a bit of a problem. Isn't that so lovely? But elephants are fantastic animals. But we'll sit here with them for as long as they stay on Djuma. And I'm going to send you back across to my dear friend Jamie, who has moved on from lions and is now watching wildebeest approach a river.
I've come across towards the Mara River to, of course, show you all the wildebeest and zebra, but mostly actually to show you one of my favourite roads so far. It drives all the way along the banks of the Mara River, and it's just so very pretty here. So these are the survivors, the ones that made it across the Mara River, probably across Chitwa. Let's have a look at what they're up to. Let's see if the wildebeest are being entertaining. To you too. Good morning. Any fights happening? What's happening there at the back? Them? Can you see them over there chasing each other around? They are thoroughly entertaining animals. It's so funny because the male tries to keep track of his ladies, and he gathers them all together in a group, and then he sees another male charging in, so he races off and goes and fights them, and then loses all his females and has to come back and goes to try and call them back to him. And then they just sort of canter around in circles. Whee! Yep, keep those legs nice and limber. You might have dodged the crocodiles, but there are still lions about. They've got such fantastic stamina, wildebeest. They could do this. Oh, wait, are we going to see a fight? Oh! That turn of speed. Here we go. Clash of the horns. Oh, and off we go in different directions. Their differences solved through a brief bout of violence, and then they go their separate ways. Oh, distraction! You missed your chance, buddy. Well, I'm not sure that one got it either. I just danced across the screen there. Was that an impala? I just saw a flash of motion. Let's go find out. Maybe there's a leopard somewhere here. Although, before we go, look at this zebra. Barely scratch. Oh, perfectly placed log. Now, Maria, you'd like to know how fast a wildebeest can run. They're actually one of the fastest antelope out here. They've definitely got some of the best stamina. And you're looking at easily 60 kilometers an hour. And that's them kind of jogging. I've seen them do, I would say, well up to close to 80 kilometers an hour when they're running away from lions. So they really can race forward when they're being hunted. Not that you can blame them. And they can keep up a steady, I would say, 40 kilometer an hour canter for potentially an hour at a time. They can cover distance very, very quickly. You can see that sloping shoulder, those backs. The Sabi, of course, is the fastest of all of the antelope. I imagine that the topi, basically being the East African equivalent, is very similar. But you can see these animals are built for stamina. Those powerful forequarters, it's just like the hyenas. You know how we always talk about the fact that the hyenas can trot along with that energy-saving gait of theirs? And wildebeest are very similar in their design. Top-heavy. They always do look a little bit like they've been put together from all the bits of the animals that were left over when the animals were created. Okay, let's go to the river. It's so pretty this way. Oh, Sinatra. There is a vast difference between the wildebeest temperament and that of a buffalo. Buffalo tend to be cantankerous. They tend to be quite aggressive. They'll often chase lions. They'll actively chase lions and try to kill them if they can. And they are, of course, much, much larger than wildebeest as well. I mean, one big male buffalo is probably at least 3 times, maybe even 4 times the size of a wildebeest. Good morning, Warthog. So there is a vast difference. I mean, wildebeest, the only way that they could potentially be a threat to a human being is if they were stampeding away from lions and they happen to run into you in a panic. But other than that, they will avoid people, whereas a dugger boy is a dangerous, dangerous creature to encounter on foot. That's one of the reasons why we don't bushwalk in this particular area. There's no escape routes for us, and between the hippos and the dugger boys, or the male buffalo that hang out on their own, oh, sweet. I don't think that's affection. I think that's one warthog wanting what the other one's eating. Oh, yum. What's that? Did you get a forb? I wonder what the warthogs feel about the migration. I wonder... Oh, that is affection. Cute. I wonder if they're relieved at the arrival of the wildebeest, because it makes them less of a target for the hunting lions. Why bother with a warthog when the wildebeest basically land in their mouths? I think it must be quite a nice time for warthog. It's the first time I've ever imagined what the impact must be of the migration on a warthog. Just over, this little piglet is probably just over 6 months old. You can see the tusks starting to show through. Are you just using your mom's tusks to scratch your nose? Everything's so much fluffier here. Even the warthogs are fluffier. It is, on average, quite a lot colder. Oh, so the hyenas are fluffier, the warthogs are fluffier. A little bit of aloe grooming. Oh, somebody's getting jealous. This is my turn, Mum. Me next. Nisha, warthogs are, I once called them sort of Staffy-sized or Staffordshire Terrier-sized. However, they can potentially go up to, there's recorded cases of warthogs just under 100 kilograms. Now that's 200 odd pounds. That's a really truly massive warthog. And these little ones are much, much less than that. But a big male warthog can potentially reach sizes of 80 to 100 kilograms, which is enormous. I've seen some monster warthogs in my time, and it just makes the achievement of the leopards that manage to foist them up into trees. Really gives you an idea of just how strong those cats are. Pound for pound, probably the strongest predator out here. Sweet. This is such a lovely warthog sighting. Beautiful teeth, my friend. Safari Man. Oh, did I get that name wrong, Lou? What was the name again? Sorry. Safari Wild Man. Safari Wild Man. You wanted to know something about warthogs. Oh, if they can feed without dropping down onto their hocks. Yes, they can. They absolutely can. It's just a slightly easier, more efficient way of feeding. So they can, their noses will touch the ground, but it's just more convenient for them to go down onto what is essentially their wrist joint. It's not their knees or their elbows, it's their wrist joint. That is very, very flexible. Little male on the right, getting a clean from mum. Getting rid of all of those pesky ticks and parasites. And bristling with pleasure. Is that nice, mister? I must say I've seen many large warthogs in my time, but I don't know if you've noticed the warthog skull that James has in his studio, as reproduced by Bones clones, but I have certainly never seen a warthog of the size of the skull that he has in that studio. That must have been a record-breaking warthog. But if you ask nicely, I'm sure at some point James will show you. Jono, you say that this is the best warthog sighting that you've ever seen. You know, it might be one of the best ones that I've had on these live safaris, come to think of it. It's really special seeing the affection between mum and piglets. Often all you see of warthog out here are their disappearing tails. Trot, 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 trot. Wait for me, mum. I agree, this has been a lovely warthog sighting. They've been incredibly obliging. Best warthog sighting I've ever had was the time we were out on bushwalk, and Brent was presenting and Brian was on camera and Steph was with us. It was before Herbie started working for us, and I was just tagging along for the stroll really. And a warthog came bursting out of its burrow of the termite mound that we were standing on. And the reason it was my best ever warthog sighting was because I've never seen 4 people fly in opposite directions at the speed and height that we all managed to obtain. It was quite astounding. It's amazing the physical feats of strength one is capable of producing when you're under attack from a flying warthog. It wasn't attacking us, it was just shooting out of its burrow at high speed. But dusts and squealing, mainly from me,